Hi students, I have a question about stars. I have located a star in my backyard. Watch. There it is. It's a kind of a purple star. Or wait a minute, it's not really a star, you know. It's just this giant ball that I found. And it kind of looks like a star. It helps me answer the question though of, do things that are closer look bigger than things that are far away? Because you know, when you look in the sky and you see the sun, it looks a lot bigger than the rest of the stars that you see at night, you know. And I just wondered in my mind if it was really bigger than all the other stars, or was it closer than all the other stars? And I thought this ball might help. So I have this ball in my front yard and I'm going to move it. I've got it pretty close right now. Let's pretend that this is the sun and I'm looking at it. But now I'm going to move it very far away and let's see how it changes. So I moved the star, the purple star that I found in my backyard. I moved it way far away. So is it the same size but just far away, or did it actually get smaller? Well, that's the kind of question that scientists ask. When they see something like a star in the night sky, they go, I think they ask themselves, does that star look small because it is small, or does it look small because it is so far away? Wow. I'm on my morning bike ride and I decided to take a picture of the lights on our street, and some lights look a lot brighter than other lights. They even look different colors. This is kind of what happens with stars. Some lights look much brighter than others. I don't know right now whether the lights are really brighter or whether some of them are just so far away that they look smaller and dimmer. Those are pretty far away, I think. And this one is pretty close. Kind of like stars, I think. Lights that are all about the same size and brightness can look a lot different. Now, that big yellow one, I think, is a big street light. But most of those others are just house lights. Maybe there's two other street lights, and you can see they look a lot different. What happens if we had a telescope? Telescopes can make things look a lot bigger, I think. Here is one more example of how streetlights can appear to be much different when some of them are close and some of them are far away. I'm going to use my magnifier to see if I can get closer. And you can see a lot more detail. Telescopes really, really help. So I'm guessing that every one of these lights is exactly the same kind of light. And look at them going off into the distance and how that changes the way they look. They seem to get smaller and not as bright the further and further away they get. Now I'm going to use my telescope and see what difference that makes. Oh, now I notice that there's some other little lights that I didn't see before. And there's lights all through the trees that I didn't notice. Good for a telescope. So I'm going to use house lights and street lights as a model for stars in the night sky. And as I go all the way around, I notice that they look a lot different, some of them. Some of them look brighter, different colors even. Look at those. Different colors in the night sky. Some are closer, some are farther away. how could you even tell? There's a lot of lights around here, and some of these lights look very, very close and some far away. And here I see something way off in the distance. What is it? I'll use my telescope and see that it's not just one star, it's lots of stars. How about that? Sometimes there are things in the sky that look very strange. Is this a star blinking at me? I'm going to hold my camera very still, and you can see it's moving. Is it a star? What could it be blinking like that? It's up in the sky. I just noticed something. These streetlights make great star models. I just noticed that there's a double streetlight there. I wonder if there's ever double stars. I wonder if those guys down there are also double. You just can't tell. So I have to get closer. Let me change where I am and let's see if those streetlight model stars are double as well. Be back in a second. So I've moved and I'm looking at the model, the streetlight model of the stars, and I see single stars, and now I see, well, there's one that looks like a double close together, and there's another double. Oh, there's a big double and it's close, but let's examine these that seem to be further away. And as I get my telescope on them, at first they didn't look exactly like double stars, but as I get my telescope focused in on them, they become double stars too. Now that one does not look like a double star, but those do, and these do, and these do. So we have to, and that one, what is that? Is that a double star, or is that, I think it is. And I don't know what that is right there. We have to get better telescopes, don't we? So remember that in order to be a great model, a really good model has to be as much like the real thing as it can possibly be. So if I'm going to model stars in the night sky, I want to choose lights that are they're not all the same size, and they're not all the same color. That makes a great model when it's all different like the real night sky is. The one thing I also want to do is make sure that the lights I choose are all the same shape, because stars, even though they're bigger or smaller or different colors, they all seem to be the same shape. So a good model looks as much like the real thing as possible. My model of the night sky is pretty good, because a movie, especially if you're moving, lets you know that the stars, it's modeling that the stars are not all on a flat sheet. If you look straight up though, the sky doesn't give you anything to reference. So all the stars just look like they're in the same place. They're on a flat sheet. But when you come back down to Earth and you can see these lights going by me, then that means that we're in a 3D model. A 3D model is one that has depth as well as length and width. So we're in a 3D model. I could make a 2D model of stars and it would look pretty cool. Here it is. One of the most famous 2D models of stars is a painting called Starry, Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. And here it is. If I was going to model the real night sky, if I was really going to model it, I wouldn't ride my bicycle straight through them, would I? That doesn't look like what we see in the night sky. The stars and the sun and the moon seem to just be moving. What can I do to make my model be like the real thing? Wow.